Welcome to Saturday's second video. Breaking news is from Ethiopia Kenya border, Moyale town situated on Ethiopia Kenya border. This morning OLA fighters entered this town, though no official statement from Ethiopian federal government, Oromia regional government, Somali regional government, but an attack was carried out by OLA fighters in Moyale. Situation is overall very tense in Moyale. Some casualties are being reported, kidnappings as well. Question is, from where OLA fighters entered to Moyale? Did they enter from Kenya side or from Ethiopia? And where did they flee after carrying out this attack? Did they flee towards Kenya or towards Oromia territories? We have details for you. Second news story is from the Somaliland. On Thursday, there were demonstrations. 7 were killed in clashes between security forces and protesters. Question is, what is happening there now? Is there any calm? And a top US delegation visited Somaliland today amid continuing tensions. Thirdly, Somali region of Ethiopia. Afars have taken control of a disputed town, Hundofo. But there is silence in the Somali region. No statement from the Somali regional government, though Somali president has fired Somali Special Force commanders. Today, ONLF spoke. Ogaden National Liberation Front, OLA spokesperson, today spoke about what is happening between Afars and Somalis. Fourthly, we have a new story about Tigrayans who are in Tigray and who want to flee Tigray. They want to reach Addis Ababa while Tigray is under a siege. It's encircled on all sides by forces hostile to Tigray. Even in this situation, Tigrayans can reach Addis Ababa, but how much are they being charged for this journey, for this risky journey from Tigray to Addis Ababa? We have some details for you shared by a news outlet. And lastly, viewers, Eritrean Information Minister today responded to EU's statement about engagement with Ethiopia. 48 hours ago, EU laid out 5 prerequisites for re-engagement with Ethiopia. Eritrea today spoke about this EU statement. Firstly, viewers, Ethiopia Kenya border. Moyale town, right on Ethiopia Kenya border. There is a border crossing as well. This town is a border crossing. And OLA a few weeks ago carried out an attack on Moyale. Today, once again, OLA fighters entered Moyale. This morning, on Saturday morning, OLA fighters stormed Moyale town. At least one local administrator was killed. Some security officials were killed too, and some have been abducted by Oromo Liberation Army. They took away an official vehicle of the local government too. For hours, they were in Moyale. Later, the OLA fighters fled and now abducted are in the custody of Oromo Liberation Army. Question is, from where did they enter Moyale? Because in recent days, we have been hearing that OLA's camps in Kenya had been destroyed. So did they enter Moyale from Kenya or from Ethiopia? Firstly, yes, OLA's camps in Kenya, at least 3 have been destroyed, but they are not in Isiolo as I reported in a previous video. The camps were in Sololo. Sololo is on Ethiopia-Kenya border. In Sololo and Turbi, Oromo Liberation Army's camps have been destroyed on Ethiopia-Kenya border. But still, they managed to enter Moyale. From where did they enter Moyale? What we have learned is that they entered from Toka and Idilola. Toka and Idilola are places at a distance from Moyale on Ethiopia side of Ethiopia-Kenya border. From these places, they managed to enter Moyale, where they carried out their operation. Fighting erupted. Local forces tried to resist, but there were dozens of OLA fighters part of this attack. After completing their activities, they fled towards Kenya. That is what we have learned from the ground, that OLA's movement across the border is still continuing. Though OLA is under pressure, as I said earlier, as its hideouts in Kenya have been destroyed. But still, border is very porous and Ethiopian government forces could not man this entire border. So OLA is still able to move across this border. After carrying out this attack, OLA fighters managed to flee and reportedly they fled into the direction of Kenya. Reportedly, this Moyale town, its administrator is from Burji tribe. In the past, we have received reports that OLA carried out attacks on Burjis. Burjis claim to be neutral, but in several past developments, OLA was accused of attacking Burjis. And in Moyale as well, there are Burjis, though not in majority, but Burjis operate in Moyale. Local motorcycle taxis are run by these Burji youth called bodabodas, like in Kenya. So part of business atmosphere in Moyale. Burji community does have its presence in Moyale, and reportedly administrator is from Burji as well. So overall situation after that is very tense. Bodabodas have suspended their daily activities. Service is not operational in Moyale. There is tension. And now reinforcements have arrived reportedly from nearby areas. But OLA fighters, they carried out their attack and they fled. Now operation is being launched for the recovery of those who have been abducted. Government has not made it clear who was killed, who was abducted, how much is the loss suffered by local forces, local administration. No details from the government. But OLA's attack on Moyale has been confirmed. Secondly, viewers, Somaliland. On Thursday, opposition protesters and security forces confronted each other. 7 were killed in deadly confrontation. Protesters hurled stones, bricks at security officials. Security officials fired live ammunition. 7 killed and dozens injured. After that, both parties, opposition parties, UCID Wadani and Kalmiye of Musibe Abdi, accused each other that they were responsible for these killings of innocent people. Faisal Ali Warabe of UCID and Abdirahman, they claim that Musibe Abdi's government wanted to assassinate them on Thursday. That is what they say after these protests. It's not something new. But civilians have lost their lives, innocent protesters, not this political elite. And secondly, Musibe Abdi government has now imposed a ban on demonstrations. Tension still there. Opposition has vowed to form an interim government, an interesting development. though no announcement so far, but opposition says it will form an interim government if there is no progress towards presidential election on time in November. Main dispute is over next presidential election due to be held in November. International partners, UK, US, Denmark, others, they issued a joint statement urging restraint. But so far, no signs of de-escalation. Meanwhile, a top US delegation comprising military officials, US government officials, Heritage Foundation officials, Heritage Foundation, which invited Musibi Abdi to visit US a few months ago. A top delegation comprising these officials is in Somaliland these days. Somaliland is an attractive place for a US military base. And reportedly, in Berbera, US is building a military base. That is why a top US delegation is in Somaliland. Tensions there, no resolution to the conflict, political stalemate between opposition and government in Somaliland so far. Secondly, for Somali region of Ethiopia, we know that Afars and Somalis have been involved in a deadly border dispute for decades. Hundofo on Ethiopia-Djibouti road was taken by Afars 2 days ago, while Somali region forces are fighting on Eastern Front against Al-Shabaab. People say, Sajid, Hundofo is part of Afar. Why do you say it's disputed? I am no one to pass a decision about the status of Hundofo. Garbai say, it's up to the people of Afar and the Somali region to sit, talk, and to decide about this region. I just report what is happening on the ground. Somali regional government is silent. But yesterday, we know that Mustafa Umar fired 2 top commanders of Somali Special Force. New one have been appointed. So it means that he is not happy with the performance of Somali Special Force. Though a few days ago, he was kissing the hands of these Special Force soldiers in Afar. Secondly, no statement from the regional government so far. But ONLF spoke today, Ogaden National Liberation Fund. ONLF said that Afars should stop attacks on innocent Somalis. Otherwise, ONLF will be forced to join the fighting. And ONLF is accusing the government that government failed to protect the lives of innocent Somalis who have been killed in this conflict. ONLF fought for years in border areas, mostly Somali region, Somalia border areas, other areas of the Somali region as well. But then it abandoned armed struggle. It turned into a political party. ONLF is putting pressure upon Somali regional government that it should take action. Will there be a counteroffensive on Afar militias in Hundofo by Somali regional forces? It could happen. Regional government is under pressure. Fourthly, viewers, Tigrayans in Tigray, can they reach Addis Ababa? Yes, they can if they have money. If they have cash, yes, they can reach. Tigray is under siege, viewers. On all sides, Tigray is encircled. Nothing can enter Tigray without the approval of the governments surrounding Tigray. Amhara regional government, Ethiopian federal government, Afar regional government, Eritrean government as well. But still, some traffickers are operating who can take Tigrayans to Addis Ababa. How much are they charging? 150,000 Ethiopian birrs. That is what is being reported by some news outlets who have uncovered this network of human traffickers who are involved in this trafficking of Tigrayans. Tigrayans do want to reach Addis Ababa because though they could come under attacks on their way to Addis Ababa, They could be detained at Addis Ababa as well. But in Tigray, situation is not the one which is livable, you can say. You don't know what is going to happen in coming days. Conscription is rampant, reported by several journalists. It means Tigrayans want to flee if they have opportunity. Those who do not want to be part of this conflict. There are others as well who are fighting for their people, for their land, women, men, their generals, government officials. But some want to flee as well, because we know that thousands have fled into neighboring Amhara region as well. In Kobo, I have shown videos, pictures in the past showing arrival of Tigrayans from Tigray into Amhara region. So, yes, there are some Tigrayans who want to flee, but they can only flee Tigray if they have 150,000 Ethiopian birds. Who is the beneficiary of this network? Networks are operating which can connect you with your loved ones. Even if you are in Tigray, you can make calls. Networks are operating, you can receive money if you're in Tigray from your relatives abroad, though you'll be charged 50% of this money. And networks are operating, you can be taken out of Tigray from Tigray to Addis Ababa. So it means that there are forces, there are individuals who are beneficiaries of this siege. Siege on Tigray is beneficial for some groups, some individuals who are earning from this siege by launching, by continuing these telecom facilities, by launching trafficking facilities, and by launching money transfer facilities, which are not facilities because these networks are exploiting innocent Tigrayans. They are being charged too much, but that is happening, and siege is beneficial for some people, some groups who would like the siege to continue. Lastly, was Eritrea. Eritrean Information Minister Yemeni Gebremeskel spoke about EU today. He responded to EU's conditions for engagement with Ethiopia. Joseph Borrell, EU High Representative, 48 hours ago laid out 5 prerequisites for engagement with Ethiopia. Last year, EU suspended financial aid for Ethiopian government. Since then, Ethiopian government has been making efforts for the resumption of this aid, but EU has laid out 5 prerequisites. Firstly, EU says there must be resumption of basic services. Secondly, negotiated ceasefire. Thirdly, withdrawal of Eritrean forces. Unfettered humanitarian access to Tigray. And lastly, EU says that there must be accountability for war crimes committed during Tigray conflict. So, in that statement, Joseph Borrell said that Eritrean forces must withdraw from Tigray. What is Eritrean position? Eritrea says that its forces are now deployed to those areas which are part of Eritrea, like Badme, like Erob. And Eritrea is of this view that these areas are part of Eritrea, but they were under the occupation of Tigray forces. A boundary commission ruled in favor of Eritrea 2 decades ago, but Tigray remained in control of these areas illegally, and now Eritrean forces have taken back their territories. So Eritrean forces are not in Tigray. As regards Eritrean deployment in Western Tigray, Eritrea never acknowledges its presence in Western Tigray. Secondly, Yemeni says that EU is neglecting underlying causes of this war. When Eritreans say that there was underlying cause which made Eritrea part of the military offensive on Tigray, Eritrea does not sound very convincing. No matter what the underlying cause is, you cannot be part of invasion of another country, another region. Eritrean forces were involved by Ethiopian federal government. Eritrea violated international law. There is no doubt about that. Eritrean forces entered Ethiopian territories. Ethiopia kept on denying, Eritrea kept on denying the involvement of Eritrean forces in Tigray, but then evidence emerged. Eritrea had to confess that its forces were part of operation in Tigray. Then Eritrea took the second position that it became part of this war because there were underlying causes that Tigray was planning an attack on Eritrea. That Eritrea should have adopted this position from day one. But in starting weeks of this war, Eritrea kept on denying its involvement in Tigray conflict. Thanks for watching.